So if you're new to beekeeping, or maybe you've been keeping bees for a long time, a common question is, how close together can I put my bees? And the bees get confused when they're trying to find their home. Normally I would do a video like this in our teaching bee yard with 4 or 5 hives in it, and kind of show you how to arrange things. But I want to take a second while I'm out here in our commercial holding yard in California, and the 1st of February, and show you what bees are capable of and how well they can do in all sorts of conditions. So I've got a few thousand beehives behind me right now, and these have been unloaded in the last couple of nights, and they're only going to spend a couple of days here, and then they're going to go into the almond orchards to pollinate almonds. But you can see we've got each pallet of bees. There's 4 beehives on a pallet, and each hive is a couple inches apart on this pallet. And then you've got these rows of hundreds of hives, and each pallet is only 4, 5, 6 feet apart. And there is no drifting at all in this yard. I mean, what drifting is when the bees get confused about where they belong, and a bunch of the bees will kind of form a mass, drift on the hive, and you see this hive completely covered in bees. And that's when I go, uh-oh, we've got a problem. These bees are drifting. But that's a primary objective that we're trying to avoid when you arrange a bee yard. We don't want the bees to get confused. But even in this scenario where we have hundreds of hives in perfect lines, they are still doing a fantastic job at finding out which home is theirs and which hive is theirs. You notice a lot of these hives are different colors. So you might have a gray box and a white box, a mix of different colors. That does really help bees. In our operation, we try to have a mix of colors. Now, it doesn't have to be red and blue and green and orange and yellow, but like we have a lot of gray boxes, and then a lot of boxes, and then a lot of tan boxes, and we mix all those together, and that can help in these situations, help the bees find their way home. But even without that, the bees often do a really good job. So if you're trying to decide how to lay out your bee yard, what hive goes where, what I always tell beekeepers is do what's comfortable for you. So create enough space so that you can get all the way around each hive and work it properly. Put it at a height that's comfortable for you. Arrange it in a way that you like and is aesthetically pleasing for your backyard or your bee yard. And don't worry too much about the bees. If you've got 4 or 5 or 6 hives, they're going to do just a fine job finding their way home. You can sit on the front of the hive, and that helps, or you can put them along a tree row, and that helps. But if you have a few hives, you can put them in pretty much any configuration you want at any spacing that you want, and they'll be just fine. Now, one thing I would note, I would not leave these bees here, for weeks on end throughout the spring or the summer this close together. We would space them out along a tree row, etc. But for a few days, they do just fine, and they orient just fine, even in mass quantities.